So we went towards the lurid pines in search of treasure, which Apoc had seen in a vision, I believe. And we knew that there was some dangerous stuff there, but hey, why not? There's treasure there. So we broke into a old, like deep vault that appeared to be untouched by anything in. We broke our way down there, found a load of biomancy gear, which Apoc really wanted to get their hands on. Some of these hamster fern hybrids, motile ferns, that were scurrying around. And as we sort of scouted around there, Nida's master, Ajax, went and scouted ahead and reported back rat-like voices that seemed to be looping. And as we all came to discuss that, suddenly heat blasts came out of a tunnel, sorry, not the tunnel that went down to the rats, I don't think, but another tunnel, and started frying the hamster ferns. And it seemed like something bigger was coming. And that's where we are, amid the lurid. This is the lurid pines, isn't it? I believe
this is the lurid pines, and it was actually Azure who had the vision about this place. So yeah, Nida is standing in front of this tunnel leading deeper into what seems to be some kind of machine, and there were pairs of eyes of maybe prairie dogs inside of the tunnel, and then all of a sudden there was these two eruptions of heat waves that came out of it. I think that Apoc and Hamish were somewhere in the middle of the cave trying to pick up the biomancer gear, the crates.
Hamish was probably closer towards where the rats were because he was.
You were by the stairs, if I remember correctly, and
that is true.
Apoc was going through crates of gear, and you had fallen back because there was something coming up. There was something coming out of that the tunnel that the heat blasts were coming from.
I think we established that Apoc was really, really wanting us to grab the biomancy gear and get the hell out of there.
Yeah, that's my call. Like the pile of good stuff that I've managed to assemble by this point is kind of grab it and run is my call. But I don't think if that wasn't the call of everyone, I don't think I'd be abandoning you. I think I'd kind of go with the majority.
I think it all depends on what comes out of that tunnel, frankly.
Yeah.
And Apoc, every time you find a crate, you see in the corner of your eye another one, covered in ferns. So this place seems to be full of old crates. So you couldn't have rounded them up all.
No, but I'm at this point kind of in a kind of cut our losses mode and kind of what we have now, let's make sure we get that secure. But I'm agitating for that rather than kind of enacting that.
So I think the pressing question is, what is Nida doing?
As I said at the end of the last session, I've got my shotgun and I've got it like I'm sitting dead red right now, just waiting.
So okay, you are next to the tunnel, I guess.
To the tunnel? No, I've got enough distance from it so that if something comes out, I'm going to be pulling the trigger at it.
Okay, and you're aiming at the entrance of this tunnel.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, the tunnel was off to the right, and the staircase was ahead of us. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So, if anything comes up the staircase, I can just pivot to my left a little bit and do that. Has Ajax come back yet?
Yes. Okay. And he's next to you, and I think that is where we more or less ended, is when Ajax said telepathically to you that the rats they're weird.
Yeah, I heard the voices. Ajax came back and told you there was some strange rats down there, but didn't go into detail on what it was. I think Hamish will, seeing the heat rays blast out the tunnel, and Nida then will muscle out his muskets and kneel in a piece of cover behind, like, you know, we're the rebel troopers, such as Darth Vader is about to cut through the door, and you hope kind of thing.
So an epoch.
I think I'm still distracted by this biomancy gear. I don't think I have my weapons ready yet. I think I've got my back to you with biomancy gear, and I appreciate that I'm bringing more of a story gaming than a OSR mindset to this. But screw it, it's fun.
And yes, I think that's about the point I'm going to yell, "APOC, ready up!"
And I grumbling drop, kind of place this biomancy gear down as kind of gently as I can, while still being quick, and swing round with my crossbow.
So I think it might be a good idea to roll initiative, which is an arcane mechanic that is not necessarily telling you that there's a fight. It's just to see what is happening first and who's acting first. And we do group initiative. You can roll physical dice if you want, or you can use the dice roller. Let's see, where is it?
It's on the roll for your party tab in the character keeper.
Centrally internal eft. So I think Nida is leading the whole thing. And you roll a d6, and you want to get as high as possible.
Give me a moment here. There's a bunch of dice to clear out. All right, you said d6 to
It
start?
is a d6. Oh, wow.
Still deleting.
I'd hoped you'd roll that 6.
Oh, right? I mean, yes, I rolled a 6 right off the bat. How lucky and fortunate for me.
It does say last roll total
0. Yeah.
0.
All right, so I'm rolling 1d6, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay. That's a 6.
Whoa, yeah.
I have
never noticed that last roll total. That is so useful. Like, I wish I'd seen that.
So I roll, didn't roll. I'll submit. Still says last roll total is a 6. Reroll selected, that is it. Okay, I've got a 4. So you act first. And I think, Nida, you have probably realized by now, because you face the tunnel and you've experienced the heat wave, the heat ray twice, that it comes in the same frequency. So there's always about like 30 seconds between these rays. And so while you're pointing your shotgun at it, there's another heat ray coming out. What do?
Well, I know nothing's coming down that tunnel while there is a heat ray going through it. At least nothing that's going to survive.
Yes.
Neither. Is it coming closer, or is it just firing heat rays out there?
That's a good question. Is the heat ray, are they does it look like it's an exhaust type thing, or does it look like it's targeted?
It seems to be targeted because you had some kind of laser pointer on your body before the first ray came. But it's not really directed in the sense that it can, I don't know, do anything else than shooting straight out of the tunnel. It seems to be somehow deeper within the tunnel and shooting straight ahead.
How
I'm gonna
big
let it-
is that tunnel entrance? Sorry.
Go ahead.
It's about like what's it called? A man cover? Is that a word?
Manhole.
Manhole cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manhole cover.
So it's quite small then. It's like a
Yeah. Yeah, my thinking was on the lines that you have 15 If it was a bit bigger, you have 15 seconds where you could go down there and find out what's down there. And then if you don't find anything, 15 seconds to make it back.
by all means, APOC, go for it.
I'll tell you what, we've got rope here. So if you want to do that, we can tie the rope to your feet and we can just pull you out at the 15-second mark real quick.
Although I was going to.
I gain less keen on.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think any of us wants to go down there, really, do we? Like, yeah, I would like to throw a rock down there.
Though, if it looks like there's any cutouts down that tunnel that look like they could provide shelter. So, is this kind of like, the Death Star ray where there's like actually stations alongside the tunnel for that laser, and somehow those people managed to survive. Even when
a bit like a subway tunnel kind of thing. Like, there are spaces in the walls to step into so that you're not squished by the train as it comes down the kind of thing. Yeah,
it is definitely possible because the wall itself is also like this irregular shaped metal plates. So if the inside looks similar, it might be possible, but you would have to investigate.
Might be possible is not exactly something that I want to count on with a heat ray like that.
It's a bit tight squeeze as well. You'd be crawling down there the entire way. Oh, it gives me the shivers. Reminds me of clawing up that dunny last time. So.
I think I want to let it go for another blast or two before moving because I'm set up and I'm ready to pull the trigger if anything pops up.
Do you mind if Hamish throws a rock down there just to see what happens?
Oh, please do. Go ahead. Throw a rock down there. See what happens.
Hamish picks up the nearest, like hand-sized thing and just lobs it down there to see if anything happens.
So every time you move through the ferns, it's that they move away from you, and you actually when you pick up the stone, you can see which looks like a nest of. It looks like green mice, to be honest. But you tell me what kind of plant traits do these mice have? And they're like blind mice. They're really small. They're just been born by what seems like the ferns, the motile ferns.
Yes, they have like succulent tendrils kind of thing. Like instead of tails, like instead of tails, they've got succulent tendrils coming out. Yeah.
Nice. And you would assume that for a, what is the word? Horticulturalist? No, that's not a word. Like for everyone, it is a word.
Yeah, horticulturist.
I just made it up. Okay, it's a word now.
Hey, Latin.
It might be like the ferns would be valuable if they wouldn't move that fast. Like they're annoying to catch, but these mice, you could just pick them up and study them or sell them. But anyways, you pick up the rock, you throw it into the tunnel, and you get a glimpse into the tunnel, and you can't see these eyes anymore, the reflecting eyes. Instead, what you see is, and you do have your flashlight, so you can light inside. What you do see is what looks like a nodule that sticks out from the back wall. There seems to be like a T. What's it called? Like a T junction.
Yeah.
And on the end, there's a nodule sticking out of the wall, and that is where the heat comes.
It's a bit like when you go like in a subway and they have those mirrors at the end so that you can see people coming down on either side, kind of thing.
Exactly.
It's like there in the middle. Yeah. So I imagine the rock just kind of clatters down in between these blasts, kind of thing, and then I duck back down, and another blast probably comes out in the next. Yeah, like it doesn't seem to really be bothered by that rock going down there. I'm like,
Nope.
I think it might be automated. I think it might. Maybe it's just like. Maybe it's just shooting the ferns on the maybe it's motion sensor or something.
Well, it wasn't doing that until we popped our head up. I mean, if it was shooting the ferns, then it would have been shooting the ferns, and it would have been doing this in the entire time.
Well, yeah, but we didn't make the ferns move that way until we came in, maybe. Like the ferns were just chilling in there. Clearly, they don't just run down the tunnel all the time, or there'd be no ferns left. But like, we come in here, we scare the ferns away, they go down the tunnel, sets this thing off. I mean, Epoch, give it a wave, see if it hits you.
I make sure that is there some cover that I can be kind of half behind?
You could definitely drag like a crate so that you could hide behind it.
Okay, so I stand off to one side of this crate that I've dragged and kind of jump up and down and wave a little bit. And
yes, when you jump up and down and wave, and you can also see, inside of the tunnel. You can see that the nodule has some kind of optical lens attached to it that seems to focus on you.
As soon as I notice that, I am behind that crate.
I do have a helmet, actually. I could stick my helmet on the end of a stick and wave it around, and we'll do the whole sniper like thing. See if it, prove if it can hit it, kind of thing.
Before you do that, do any of us have a mirror?
Let me see what.
Because we all have porter's packs, I think.
Yeah, let's see what's in a porter's pack.
Yeah. I think at the start it was all I could afford, and I actually don't know what's in the packs, so I've never thought to buy anymore,
Porter's pack. Unless we can make the argument that a beat-up tea flask might be a glass thermos flask, then, which I think will be a pretty difficult argument to make.
Okay.
I don't think we.
Well, here's a different idea. We're in a facility. Do we see anything like a mirror around, or something that is a reflective surface that we could use as a mirror?
When the idea pops up in your brain, Ajax says, well, there's no shortage of mirrors where the rats are dancing.
Should we leave this ray to do its business? It doesn't look like it's going to come after us, and we can just we got past it all the way here. We can go check out these rodents and see what mischievous things these mouse are up to.
I'm still reeling from the staggering thing that Ajax has just put in my head. Dancing rats.
It's a bit scary that Ajax apparently is able to read your thoughts.
And that's actually not the scary part. The scary part is that after all this time together, Ajax still hates me enough to put that visual in my mind. All right. So, hey, Pac, let me ask you this. Now, since we've determined that it is not quite targeting us with any degree of precision, do we want to get some of this material out of here and get it on the auto wagon?
Oh, there'll be time for that later. We will be coming back out this way. Clearly, like it's no bother.
Hamish,
this stuff's amazing. We need to get it out of here. Like I'm kind of gripped by avarice at this point. Of like, I want this stuff.
I'm
It's
just
been lying around.
APOC, I'm going to buy you a little bit of time here and argue with Hamish while you move stuff toward the Hamish,
Yeah,
I just out of here in a hurry. We may not have a chance to grab it on the way back. I mean, of all people, you certainly know the importance of being able to leave with a quickness, because everything that you and I have ever done together has usually involved us leaving and not really getting much of a chance to go back for stuff.
Aye, true. All right, then let's load up the wagons, and then let's take our time and fill it all up.
And then we can go do something foolish that makes us have to leave in a hurry.
Okay, now that we... Oh, go on.
How about as a compromise, given that you're reluctant, Hamish? How about we say that we managed to argue you to give us time to load the stuff, but not necessarily kind of like pick through it to make sure we're loading the best stuff. We just kind of, the short time that I've had to organize it is all the time I'm going to get, and we just have to load.
I thought you'd already picked through a lot of it, except for these boxes you keep finding.
The impression that I got is that there's just mountains of the stuff that would take kind of way more time than we have to kind of actually kind of sort through all of it.
Okay.
Listen, let's get what
I thought you gotten at least a couple of boxes done.
Oh yeah. Let's take the boxes he's got already, and we can grab the rest on our way out. Yeah, deal.
On our
right.
Yeah, grumble a bit, but
I just want to find out what's down there, Nida.
That's the best I'm going to get, I guess. So
Well, what are we waiting for then? Why are we standing around drawing when we could be doing work? Come on, chop.
So, if everybody agrees, we see the three of you dragging these crates down the mountain, which is hard work, actually. So I think, if I'm not completely mistaken, you can probably take 2 crates, and then you are encumbered, so you would have disadvantage when you roll anything. But you can carry 2 of them.
So we can each carry 2, or we can carry 2 of them as all 3 of us.
No, you can each carry 2, or you find like a more efficient way to get them down.
Okay.
With
Hamish kicks a crate off the edge of the mountain, rolls it down, and then goes, "Oh crap!" All right, I'll go get another one. Sorry.
Hamish realized that was probably the good one, right?
Oh no, that was definitely the crap. That was not one of his special boxes.
Well,
that stuff's delicate. Be careful with it.
Why doesn't no one's put it on there? They've just put this weird mark on the outside rather than fragile. Like, what's going on there? I think Hamish will take 2 and go down. We will go down.
And when you go down and you're on the bottom of the mountain, just make a charisma check with disadvantage to see what happened to the 1 crate you kicked.
Oh, nice. What am I rolling? D20?
Yeah, you roll a d20 equal or under your charisma, but you roll twice and take the higher result, which is the worst.
Yes.
I thought that's what you did with advantage.
With disadvantage.
I thought disadvantage was you roll 2 d20 and take the lowest.
Well, you take the worst.
Okay.
Which is the highest in this case.
Okay.
Well, I roll over. I roll a 17.
Okay, so the crate is broken up, and I think Epoch can see what is the. I think actually, to make it even more painful, it is a part of the machine that you were looking for, but it's broken to pieces.
I'll get you another one. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Didn't know that was in there. I'll find you another one. There's bound to be more in there. Like, if there's one, there's usually more, right? Like,
I think at this point I'm so incensed I am speechless, and I end up kind of not kind of massively violently, but kind of end up shoving this silver book with this machine details into your face and like, do you have any idea how long I've been looking for this stuff? And kind of I kind of almost start kind of like speaking in tongues a little bit in my rage as the kind of symbiont kind of
different voices coming through, kind of thing. Yeah.
I love it. So the symbiont is probably also whispering in the ear, "Kill the idiot."
Yes.
I'm just gonna lean over and whisper to APOC. Listen, if you want to have Ajax knock him out, those narcotic darts come with a hell of a hangover.
It's tempting. It's tempting.
Can't do it right now, but we can put him to sleep tonight, and he'll wake up regretting whatever he thought he did yesterday to do that.
Hamish whistles as he's filling the van with the stuff. Oblivious to this conversation entirely. You're like,
I just like I'm really tempted. I might take you up on that and go. I get myself under control.
If you take me up on it, you're buying Ajax the fish, though. He's got expensive tastes.
Fair enough, I guess.
So, carrying the stuff down the mountain obviously takes some time and energy. And to be like open about it, I will roll, which is, you know, a very old school thing to do, an encounter die to see if something is happening every time you take another round of crates. And then for you, it is like a good way to balance, you know, do we have enough and just cut our losses, or do we risk having an encounter? So do this on a 1 in 6 chance for the first round. Okay. So the next time you go, each of you have 6, like each of you have 2, so 6 in total. So actually, you're now at the maximum what the auto wagon can hold. What do you do?
we've only gone once, haven't we? We've only taken 6 down.
Yeah, like I was imagining I was rolling for the next time. So you were inside, you picked up the crates.
I figured we'd just do one trip, so we'd have like 6 crates.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that was my
because-
feeling.
So one crate is basically equivalent to 1 sack. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so that leaves us 6 slots, 6 sacks open on the auto wagon, correct?
Cool.
Yeah. Should we then go back up and then go down the stairs and check? You know, we'll check in on this heat ray. Is it still blasting away, or can we? You know, like, is it like? You know, we just sort of like look over in the corner, it's going, and we just shrug our shoulders and walk past it like.
So the next time, yeah, go on.
I was going to say, I don't know about the Rusty, but I kind of want to know if I can make friends with these hamster ferns.
Mm-hmm. How do you do that? How do you try that?
I don't know.
So
you know, I do know. I'm going to make sure that I'm out of the line of fire of that heat ray.
It's not firing when you come up.
I'm going to sit down, cross-legged, and just quietly sit there for a while, seeing if any of these hamster ferns come over.
So they do seem to avoid the light. What is the rest doing while Nida is sitting down?
Throw some food towards one of them, see if it goes for it. Like, you know, just to break off a piece of ration or whatever, and then just come on, little guy, come on, you want some? Nope. All right then, never mind. What a waste, Jesus.
I'm standing still and watching Nida because I'm wondering whether there's biomancy in the origin of these things, and I'm kind of looking for indications of that.
Interesting. Make a wisdom check. Do you think that your symbiont could be relevant in the role?
No, I think it's more I think it's more of a doghead black jackal thing, the biomancy. So I don't think my symbiont cares about this.
Okay, cool.
So
D20 and equal or under.
50-50.
Where do
You can just re-roll one of the dices on the table as well.
Sure. Reroll. That is an 11. So that is a fail.
I mean, you don't see like a direct indication that is linked to some kind of biomancy experiments. But I would say that it is a probable conclusion that these things are not natural.
I'd like to try to make a wisdom roll to see if I can use my experience wandering to see if these are tameable or if I can entice them to come over. And I think that my Yellowlander background here would give me advantage because I've been wandering for so long and seen so many unusual life forms that I might have a broader idea of. I mean, these are unusual, but they are no means wholly unique. I mean, I've seen walking plants before. This is the grasslands. I mean, weird stuff happens out here. Walking plants.
Yeah, like you want to see if they are tameable. Is that the intent?
More or less. And I want to use my. I think here that wisdom and my Yellowlander background would be appropriate. Does that make sense? All right. So 2d20.
Yes. And take the better result.
I got a 4.
So I want to say that in your travels, you have definitely seen wild animals and weird wild animals that that are not tameable, that only have survival on their mind. But with these ferns, the rodent ferns, you think that they don't seem to be as desperate or as shy, maybe they haven't seen human beings and what they're able to do in ever, probably. So they do avoid the light. So when you're sitting in the darkness, you can see that they are coming a little bit closer. You can also see that they're eating the food that Hamish had thrown at them. And the longer you sit, the closer they come and the more they just accept that you're there as if you were, I don't know, one of the prairie dogs or something. And you can now see them a bit closer. So they are actually, let's see if I'm not saying something stupid. Well, they are called sessile photosynthesizing rodents. And we know that they give birth to these runty green mice. But you tell me, what is the rodent part of them? So the grown-up ferns, they don't look like blind mice anymore, but they have a rodent quality to them. What is it?
I think it's their body. And the ferns that we see actually become their senses. Like I think that these fern fronds grow out from what we would consider the part of their head where their eyes should be. And they effectively act like a cane or some other accommodation so that they don't walk into walls or anything like that.
But they don't have eyes, for example. They don't have ears. They just have the fern parts that are their sensory organs.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That is horrifying, and I love it.
So do you make, what is your attempt to tame them then?
Huh.
So they don't seem to be afraid of you when you're sitting in the dark. By the way, what is Hamish and Epoch are doing? Are you standing there watching? Do you go deeper? Do you check out the tunnel? Do you look for more crates?
I mean, like, I would be happy to give neither the time to do it. I think we want to go down to check out these rats all together, kind of thing. But yeah, I imagine APOC is probably going to be searching through more of these crates, right? Like, while they've got the chance to do it. It seems like the
my interest has actually been caught by these now that kind of we've made some progress on the crates. Kind of my kind of interest have been caught by these rodent ferns, and so I'm watching and observing at this point. Like I'm kind of standing stock still and staring and like
Fair.
trying to kind of catalogue their behaviour in my head.
Then Hamish is having a cigarette and trying to play cards with Ajax.
Cool.
While we wait for it.
That is
Yeah,
a
I think-
bad move for Hamish. Ajax will rob you blind.
Aye. I'm already down to fish.
So Apoc, you you have no proof, let's say. You haven't seen any proof that these are results of biomancy experimentation, but they're definitely super interesting.
And
Yeah.
they could. What's going through my head is that they could be they could be the start of my biomancy experimentation. Like I'm looking at them as kind of potential raw material, basically.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the way that I'm trying to get them accustomed to me is I have my hand down, flat on the ground, palm up, open. And I'm clicking my tongue so that it doesn't have eyes, but it does seem to have ears.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense because, I mean, if you're in a dark cave, what do you need eyes for? Hearing, sense of smell, being able to tell when you're going to run into a wall, those things are useful. But eyes, not so much. So it appears that they were either engineered this way or they've evolved this way.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my hand out and I'm just clicking my tongue at them like.
Mm-hmm. And you can see their ears like moving to locate the sound. This is almost like more a luck roll than anything else. And I think you have advantage. So roll charisma, which is also like reaching out to other beings.
Okay.
And roll twice and take the better result.
That is 15 and 8, and my charisma is a 9.
Perfect. It's not a critical success, but it is definitely a success. So yeah, I think that one of the ferns is approaching your hand, and like they don't have do they have nose and things and tongues?
Well, they'd have to have at least a mouth to chew and eat.
Well, yeah, they've eaten Hamish treats.
Yeah, so I mean, yes to nose, because again, smelling would be useful underground. Hearing would be useful underground. Sight is not so much, but other sensory organs, absolutely. But I'm curious, is this a bigger rodent fern? Is this a smaller one?
I think it's a smaller one. It's a younger one.
Okay.
And you can also see that there's another rodent that seems to be protective somehow. So it tries to go towards you, but then takes a step back, and maybe it rustles with its ferns to warn the younger one. But the younger one seems to be adventurous and sniffs your hand.
I'm just making calming noises, like, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just curious about you.
And it, it sits next to your hands. It seems to be, you seem to have befriended a motile fern.
Okay. How does it react if I pet it? Like if I pet its body?
I want to say it makes the equivalent of purring sounds. I'm not so sure what kind of purrs rodents do, but it's like a guttural.
Yeah, it's either bruxing when they're kind of chattering their teeth together, or they can actually do a sort of trill. You should know by now, Horst, if you put mice or something like rodent adjacent in a game,
you will take advantage.
Does it climb onto my hand or anything like that?
It does, and the body feels warm. It's not so much. It's not really furry. It is more like skinny, and it has these leafy parts that is, I don't know, like 2/3 at least, probably more of its total mass.
Does it like fit inside my palm? Is it a little bit bigger? I mean, are we talking mouse, rat, guinea pig?
Yeah, it is. I think it's rat sized, so probably 2. Yeah, what's young rat? Maybe 1 handful is okay, but then you have the whole fern part sticking out.
Right.
I'm making another roll. All right. And in theory, if you invest time, this also goes for Epoch, you could try to harvest in quotation marks them. And take more of them with you for experimentation.
I'm worried, given that they're tameable, that's if the experimentation is in any way bad for them, we're crossing a line that we've established there. So I'm keen not to do that, obviously. So
I mean, experimentation doesn't mean you have to cut them in half. I mean, you can study them.
Yeah. I'd be keen to invest some time and get to study them. I'm aware that I don't have any equipment for doing that with, but I want to glean what I can. I'm kind of muttering to myself at this point because I'm particularly curious about the fact that these have plant components and yet they're avoiding the light. Are these ferns green?
Now we're getting in weird territory. They are indeed green, but they don't seem to they seem to be possible to photosynthesize, but there doesn't seem to be any source that they could, like, even in theory use, unless something's going on that you don't know.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this mystery that we have creatures that should be seeking out the light, who are avoiding the light and seem to be using their light gathering organs for things that aren't light gathering. So this is kind of fascinating APOC at this point.
So I look over at APOC and say, You know, I don't know about you. I kind of want some time to observe these.
Yeah, me too. That's super interesting.
Hamish, you hear a weird combination of sounds from downstairs. It's neither the organ music that is in the background all of the time, nor it's the voices of the rats. It seems like a mixture between moaning like, and the clattering of teeth.
Look at Ajax and be like,
He shrugs.
do you want to go? You want to? Tell you what, I'll play this round. Whoever loses has to go check it out.
He like narrows his eyes and then nods. Okay, let's do this as a one-off, a d6. Higher wins.
Well, I got 2, so I'm almost certainly losing to Ajax, as predicted by Puckett.
Yes, I got a 6.
Yeah, Ajax is really good at cards. Yeah,
he probably cheated.
Listen,
Yeah.
the problem is Ajax is furry, so you don't see the entire extra deck he has in his fur. So
yeah.
don't play cards. Don't play cards with an exiled cat lord. I mean, this is your lesson of the day.
True. Well, he's definitely. If I survive this, I will have learned it. So Hamish will wave over at the 2, botanists / animal lovers, David Attenboroughs of our expedition, and just be like, and then he's going to go and poke his head down that tunnel and see what the hell's going on.
I think I don't even notice you've gone at this point.
You're on the top of the concrete stairway, and if you look down the shaft or whatever it's called, and with your flashlight, you can see 2 moving creatures in the front, which are really slow, and they have this bluish, greenish, really sickly looking skin. They seem to be humans probably, but they are bloated. And they move slowly, and behind them you can see is hardy and grim 3-toed hamsters who are also heavily armed with some kind of sickle. And it's 3 of these hamsters, 3 hamsters and 2 bloated humanoid corpses. Moving corpses, and they move slowly up the stairs.
I'm just going to shoot one and run back up. Yeah, I think that sight that you've described is more than enough for Hamish just to blow away of the first thing that's coming up. This, one of these slow creatures.
Yeah, you shoot at the zombies.
Yeah. Well, they're the ones in front, right? So it's definitely a case of shoot the closest thing and then run up, kind of thing.
So let's see. I think let's take advantage of the fact that you are actually a fighter. You do know they will take some time to get all the flight of stairs up. So I think you can. Isn't it that you can wait for a round? I can't be asked to look it up. I think if you wait for a round, you get an advantage on your. It's like aiming.
Sure. That sounds good to me. As far as the classes go, I only know the ability that is in my slot, as opposed to anything more. So you just tell me what happens, and I will be like, "Yes, that sounds perfectly right," kind of stuff. Yeah. So cool. So what do I roll? D20 again? Yep.
You're a D20, and you have an AV of 11.
Cool, and I have advantage on that as well, right? So, miss on. Oh no, wait. We don't want to. I've got either a higher one or a lower one. So.
Well, you have to roll under your attack value.
Yeah. So I got a 5. So.
Okay, and then roll your damage.
Which is a D6 plus 2 for the musket. So 5 points of damage.
And let's see, I need to roll there. says, okay, yeah, that. How do you kill the bloated corpse? How does it look? Is it a headshot? Is it a?
Yeah.
Does it explode or something?
Yeah, it's not a headshot; it's a gut shot,
Mhm.
and it just poof, like
Yeah, there's
Left 4
some
Dead boomer style. Like,
there's some weird gas or something that had built up inside of the body, and if you puncture the stomach, it just explodes. And at that moment, the three hamsters rush past the corpse up the stairs.
cool. Well, Hamish is after that shot is running back up the stairs. So like I think to your guys' perspective, Hamish walks down, and then you hear boom, and then shite running up the stairs. Kind of Hamish just bounding up the stairs towards you.
Okay, but that took a little bit of time. In the meantime, before you hear the shot, so Epoch was trying to watch the scenery, or have you tried to pick one of the ferns up?
I think I am trying to. I'm copying what Nida did and kind of trying to replicate the same thing. And so I'm trying to pick one of them up. I'm more businesslike about it than Nida is. I'm clear I'm interested in them as a scientific curiosity rather than as a pet.
Yeah. But you're trying to do the same that Nida did. So be still, hold out your hand. It's not that you're trying to you don't run and catch them. You try to charm them, so to speak. So you won't get the advantage, but you can roll on your charisma.
That's a 5, so that's a success.
Okay, you both have. I think maybe for the sake of, we have already established that there's a parent, maybe, and so if you want to, you could have picked up the older fern that seems to be interested in the younger one, or you could have picked up a random one.
I think I'll go for the older one that's interested in the younger one. More connections are always more interesting.
Yeah, cool. So you both have a rodent fern, and then you hear the shot and the shite. What do you do?
First, I mutter under my breath every bloody time with Hamish, and then draw my put this. Try and calm down this hamster fern that I have, and kind of like gently kind of put it into my pack, and so that it's comfortable but can't get out. And
hey, Puck, put it down. They live in darkness. We can't take them with us right now. We'll need to come back.
It's dark inside the pack.
Hey, Puck. 6 crates.
Yeah. I kind of I'm a bit chagrined, and I actually do put it down because I'm having a moment of I'm touched by how you were so careful with it. So I kind of okay then, like, you're right, and put it down and kind of whisper that, like, I'll be back to look at you later, you fascinating creature, or something kind of equally kind of like nice but also slightly creepy.
And what is Nida doing? Do you keep the young one?
Oh no, I'm putting it down onto the ground, and I'm trying to make sure that it's out of the line of fire. And to the extent that I can do so, I'm trying to make sure that the older one is also out of the line of fire, around a corner or something like that, where they're less likely to get harmed by whatever the hell Hamish disturbed.
And then we see. Oh, yeah, Hamish, you are. Will you?
Oh no, I know, but like if when Hamish gets back there, they say, "What have you done now?" He was like, "I didn't do nothing. They were coming up the stairs to begin with. You should be thanking me."
So Hamish, do you try to get as far as possible away from the stairs?
My plan is to basically run out in front of the field of fire of Apoc and Nida, so that they can take a shot at these things that are pursuing me. And then if there's one still standing, I'm going to whip around my claymore and take him on. You know, and I imagine that slow zombie is coming up the stairs behind them the whole time.
Is there any chance we can trigger the heat ray to see if the heat ray will like fire at them, and we can keep them in the line of the heat ray?
Definitely, you could try to lure them deeper into the cave, and then hope that you could either try to time it or hope that the optical thing picks up the hamsters.
You guys stand on one side of it. I run through it in the gap between, or whatever, and hopefully the hamsters get caught in the fire, right? Like behind me. That sound right?
Something like that. That sounds like a plan.
Cool. I mean, yeah. As Hamish runs up, Nida's like, "This way, Hamish," kind of thing, and like Hamish will just veer off from where he was running to run toward you and set this plan into action.
Cool. So, if I get it right, you try to retreat to behind the tunnel. Is that true?
That sounds about right. Where like the blast was coming out and it was hitting the ferns. I'm running wherever I need to try and put them in that same spot as the ferns, kind of thing.
Yes. Cool. Yeah. So they emerge from out of the staircase, and they look really vicious. Like they have ugly. They're like big hamsters. They're not like tiny hamsters. They are the size of a child, maybe. They're also like unnaturally bulky. They that Azure has changed in the last couple of weeks, and they look as if they have finished that process. They look like freak hamsters. They also have it's a question for, I don't know. Let's look at the lines and veils, because maybe we should have reviewed that at the beginning. Actually, I always forget this. But it's all right. So there's a veil on cannibalism, but they do show signs. I mean, how can you see that they are cannibalistic? They have like teeth of their fellow hamsters as a necklace. Neither.
I was going to say maybe one of them's got like a skull of the hamster, like shoulder pad kind of stuff,
Yeah, like other hamster skulls as epaulets. I like that. Maybe a necklace of teeth and ears. Maybe there's fur trimmings around the hamster skull epaulette. These are bad hamsters. These are not
these are bad, vicious, and quite frankly, they also look like they're super fast. Like they're moving. As soon as they emerge from the staircase, they duck behind the ferns, and they try to zigzag towards Hamish. And this ducked kind of running thing. Let's see. I think it's a brilliant idea to lure them in front of the heat ray. I think the only flaw in this brilliant plan is that you don't really know. Like, you do know when it shoots out, in theory. If you trigger it once, there's a certain frequency, but it's difficult, I think, to make sure that they will be in front of the tunnel at the right moment, unless you come up with some kind of scheme.
At which point I think, Ajax, can you tie them up a little bit, please? We just need to keep them there. If you can use your narcotic darts to keep them there, that would be hugely helpful.
Let's see. Unfortunately, Ajax is active.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing that you can actually do. Yeah, so how do you make sure that he is successful? So what would be the role that you play in this plan? Just telling Ajax is not enough, and unless you want to say it's charisma or something.
I think that part of it is Ajax hissing and arching his back and flicking darts in their direction. And another part of it is, let me take a quick look at my character sheet here. Daggers. I'm literally throwing daggers at them, just to not like I'm not chain throwing daggers at them. I'm not like throwing flurries of throwing knives at them or anything like that. Just enough to keep them back.
So I would say there is definitely no role for Ajax. How do I do that? I mean, the plan is really good. I want to say what do you think about a 3 in 6 chance that your plan works?
If APOC is firing at them with the crossbow, would that improve the odds?
If you all, synchronize your movement, I want to improve it to 4 in 6. So here's my D6 roll. And it is a 6. So how can it be? It has gone wrong. So I think they're just too quick and too smart. So they are in the line of fire. I imagine that Ajax is hissing. Hamish Schneider and Epoch are trying to pin them down in place, and they see the red laser pointer on their fur, and you hear them communicating in some kind of grim hamster language, and then they shoot out in all 3 directions. And we are now in a terrible fight. And because we are streaming for an hour, and fight is always, training, shall we take like a 5 minutes break? Oh, let's say 8 minutes. Okay, see you at the hour.
Sure.
Cool.
Works for me.
Cool. See you on the hour.
I'm here.
Cool. You're muted, host, if you're talking.
I said the most intelligent thing ever. Like, just imagine a really smart remark. That was me. Okay, let's do initiative. We do group initiative, I think. So Hamish, as the fighter, must make this roll, I think.
Cool. Is that D6 again?
Yeah, flat D6. And I roll for the hamsters. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Looks good. I can still also roll a 6. So
No, 1.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, it was a 6. Boom.
Did that thing where it catches up suddenly.
I know. Okay, so you act first. So to give you the whole scenery so that you can make a decision. You're still about I want to say at least 6 feet apart from the quickly moving hamsters. So you still can use your ranged weapons. You can charge, which means that you get a combat advantage, but you lower your AC, so you get no AC. Practically, it's -3. And you can't fight defensively or offensively. I think Hamish did that in the first fight at the Porcelain Citadel, which means is that you get, if you fight defensively, you have -2 on your attack value, but you get +2 on your AC. And the other way around. You can try to grapple them. You can try to feint. You can try to protect each other. So, for example, Hamish could decide to protect APOC, or the other way around. And deft characters can exchange their advantage with double damage if they want. If you have you fight with advantage if you get some kind of advantageous position, and then you can choose to not roll with a better die, but take the better, like roll damage twice.
So,
yeah.
Really quickly, I haven't used Ajax's special ability yet, correct?
That is not correct. You didn't you use it to lure the hamsters into the heat ray thing?
See, this is kind of why I'm asking, because I thought that the special ability was basically convincing Ajax to kill something or take something out, like a guard or the rat in the first session, as opposed to just kind of being a cat. If you think that him trying to hold them there in the heat ray was using that ability, that's fair.
I would say, but I mean, this is an open table democracy in action. I would say that you do something that is not in the range of capabilities of a normal cat.
I kind of view it with more towards the host's idea of it being like, we got the chance to make that role because of Ajax.
Okay,
kind of thing.
That's fair.
If that makes sense. We had a chance to kill all 3 of them, perhaps, rather than just one, but we failed, unfortunately. It feels like that kind of game to me.
Okay,
you know?
Fair.
Okay, and so you all act before the hamsters and the slowly emerging zombie that is far away at the stairs. You can also,
if we shoot,
yeah.
we can assume that they'll probably run at us with their scythe, right? And on their turn, they'll probably be able to close that distance to us and attack, right?
That is how it looks like.
Yeah. Okay. I don't really have a strong move, so I'm happy to go after you guys because I can run in with close combat for one of them. But you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Hamish is still currently running away at the very start of it, so it's you guys who are like whipping up your crossbow or your whatever, right, to have a shot, while then Hamish might turn around and attack whatever.
Mm-hmm. Hamish also has the ability. I don't know if it's once per battle.
Oh yeah, giving them +1 AV, stand close, 15-foot radius. Can I do that? So
You
taking
can
a full
always
verbal action.
Yeah.
Cool. I will do that then. So you guys get. Should I give us +1 AV and +1 AC, right? Or should I give the enemy -1 AV and thingy? My inclination is towards a 1 HP and 1 AC. Frankly, does that sound right to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I just don't grasp the mechanics all that well, so I'm a bit like unsure.
Yeah, you
Same TBH.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, and the small action is something that you can do additionally to, for example, changing a weapon, or even make it. You can always move and attack, or attack and do a small action. In this case, would be like a verbal action. Drop something. So you can always do these two things.
Cool. Well, that's Hamish is like, come on then, let's get them. Like, shoot the bastards. Like,
And what is Nida doing?
I'm going to shoot the bastards. I mean, they have scythes. They have long claws. You know,
They look really, really mean. They look tough as fuck. I have to say that. So the bulky physique also hints at a lot of HP, and their quick movement hints at a good ability to fight. They also have this hardened skin, so I think that
should we just be running. Should we just be fleeing at this point?
I mean, if you guys just turn and run, then Hamish will run right after you. You know, like I think that is a reasonable enough thing to do in this situation. To be perfectly honest, with my 5 HP.
Hey, we got 6 crates.
Yeah, I'm being as squishy as I am. I'm not feeling good about my chances in this fight, and so get one shot off and then run.
I think they'll close the distance between the one shot.
I
think it's
really quick.
They're really quick.
Is it possible to fire a shot with disadvantage while we're fleeing?
I don't think that is possible. So there's no rule about disengaging, I think. But the way it is written, I don't think that you can run and act.
Okay. So, because this is something we all need to be agreed on, are we running?
Yeah, it's fine by me.
I'm running.
Okay.
Okay.
We're fleeing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think maybe instead of like come on and shoot, then Hamish just literally like blows straight through the two of you. Right.
Is there anything come on pull over like as we're leaving, like crates or anything like that, to get in their way to make it harder for them to follow?
You see the fern that you have befriended.
I'm not sacrificing the fern.
And it looks, well, it can't look at you, but it has the ferns out and is trying to read the situation, so to speak. But if you're not, if you don't want to sacrifice the ferns, then I think I love the image that Hamish is the first running away from these vicious hamsters.
Yep, the folk hero.
And the two of you following suit, if that is a word.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we get the shot from outside of the vault door. The vault door is open, and the three of you running out. towards the auto wagon, and then the camera lingers a bit on the vault door, and then slowly the scythes, the sickles emerge, and the hamsters with narrowing eyes looking after you and nodding to themselves. Yeah, we did it again.
Yeah. Maybe like not willing to go out into the full light of the day, kind
Exactly.
of. But like, yeah. I'm guessing that we can say that like Azure D was sat in the car, like keeping the motor running, kind of thing, and we just all jump
keeping
into
the
the
engine going.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you still have enough rations. You have the 6 crates of biomancer gear. And 2 days later, you arrive at the behemoth shell again. Now, there are a couple of things that you could do, just to remind you. You could try to get some kind of transport to increase your capacity. I think that Nida wanted to send some messages to the Violet City.
Yeah, through
Shiver Erbert.
yeah, the show, because you said they're telepathic and can send the stories and such.
Yeah, she's a dream walker.
And these killer hamsters with those gigantic claws, teeth, and scythes, those are very much something that I'm going to be sharing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Mencia will love the story about the cannibalistic hamsters.
Can I buy a shotgun while I'm here? Is that a thing I can do?
Yeah.
I see the stats of buckets, and I'm like, yeah, I want a shotgun. Hamish having a shotgun on a motorbike with a massive sword as well seems like the perfect combination.
Mm-hmm.
So
it does.
Question: what other weapons are available here? Like porcelain pistol?
Let's see. There's no porcelain pistol. I think the last place that you could have gotten one was the porcelain citadel, and other than that, I would assume that it must be like a satrap settlement, or like a porcelain princess settlement, or some like bigger community. I mean, the great folk, they do have weapons and they do sell weapons and transports, but not the really sophisticated ones.
Right.
But let's see, items. I want to say from the melee weapon, everything up until the ceramic mace. So, for example, the saber tooth, which is necrotic, that should be there because it has to do with bones. And concerning armor, everything. And concerning ranged weapons, everything except the porcelain pistol and the Inquisition squirt gun.
Do you want my musket, Bodhi? For it's D6 plus 2 rather than a D8. So on average, you would do more damage with a musket than you would do with a crossbow.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm happy to take on your.
Hamish will make a big deal about this, you know, like, oh, it's my old faithful. Like, my grandma gave me this. It's like, it's a beautiful family heirloom. Like, honestly, I'll be lost without it. But you know, I did you wrong. I'm sorry about that. Here, take this, and may it serve you as well as it served me. And it's absolute bullshit. He picked this up off the side of the road somewhere, you know. And as soon as you take it from him, he goes and like pulls out his new shotgun, and he's like, "Ooh." Shining it away, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's a little bit rusty and it's really old, so it could be true, but it's not.
Yeah, I think I suspect that it's bullshit, but I'm happy to take it.
I mean, the advantage of a crossbow is that it's silent, while a musket is obviously really loud, but it does do more damage on average.
But presumably, I can have
Yeah.
both and choose which one I carry with me away from the vehicle?
Yes, definitely.
No. Is there any commonality between the equipment used in biomancy and what these people do with bones? I'm wondering if there's any of the equipment that can be sold to them at a premium because of that.
Yes, there's definitely parts that they would be interested in. So the biomancy and the biomancy, if it's a Venn diagram, there's definitely some intersection.
So I think I try and sort out the gear which has the best intersection of being kind of least useful to me and most useful to them, and kind of is it obvious who I would approach to try and sell this?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely, like, to establish the scene a little bit, there's this massive cave. It is in the middle, there's some kind of guard tower that is illuminated by some kind of electric light, probably produced by some kind of biomancy. And then there are these stalls, and people sell all kinds of stuff, and most of them either sell the marrow beads, which are some kind of protein worms in shells, or they sell like biomancy bone work, which is like bones grown in certain ways. And any of those would definitely buy the crates.
So I take a stroll and I'm looking for the most complex and the best quality bone work, and trying to find someone who looks like they've got a lot of experience and would appreciate some more unusual equipment.
Mm-hmm. So they're called kneecap Zis, and kneecap Zis. They are like, all the great folks are actually really tall, but they are like tall and broad-shouldered. They have this piercings, very elaborate piercings with bone fragments inside of them. And the stuff they're selling is like almost art. It's sculptures with very intricate growth. And so this looks at you and says, oh, a connoisseur, I see.
You have fine work, my friend.
I do. Anything that you fancy?
I think for today it's more the other way round, and I take out a choice item and kind of present it to him wordlessly.
Let's do the good old haggle thing. So it seems like you want the quality. I think you established that you selected the stuff that you want to sell, geared towards these biomancers. So I think that warrants an advantage, but you still have to roll. And let's see, the haggling stuff always confuses me. Where would that be? Trade and goods. If you spend an hour and D6 on coffee and tea. I assume that you invite them for maybe a fermented goat milk shake.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the both of you sit down at the table, and they are playing with what kind of equipment is it that they have in their hands at the moment?
I think what they have is it's a, trying to think of a good name for it. A cellular resonator, and it's what is used to make biological material grow in a particular form. And this is this has a finer focus than what you would normally have available, what you would expect this kneecap Zist to have already. And so you can be more precise with it, and that's what I saw in his work, and that's why I approached him.
Yeah, so it's probably made from brass or something.
Yes, yeah, it's got a bunch of dials. I'm thinking, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the micro manipulators that you use to kind of move things around on microscope stages that have kind of intricate knurled wheels in different axes, and imagining it something like that, something you would clamp onto a workpiece and kind of adjust.
Cool. And so he turns it in his hands. And yeah, make your haggle roll, which is it's just it can't be a flat roll because you make a relevant test. So now it gets a little bit confusing. We are rolling on a UVG table, which means you want to roll high. So you roll a d20 and you add the modifier, in this case for charisma, I think.
So what would that be at 15?
15 is probably a, let's see, it is a +1.
Okay, so d20 +1. If it will actually select, I will roll it. So that is a 9.
A 9. Tone turns out they really don't need it, but if you're desperate. So he says, just had a shipment last week. I mean, these are really good, probably better than the ones that I have, but you know, I can't use them both. I'm willing to give you, and so the price for these crates is normally, per crate, it is, it doesn't say, it says 10,000 for 40 sacks. Holy shit, do I have to calculate this? What is 10,000 divided by 40? Yes.
250.
Okay, so normally per crate it's 250. But he is willing to offer 120.
I'm not that desperate. I basically say that if you don't need it, you don't need it. I'm not going to be selling it to you at a discount, but I enjoyed the meal. It's always I always enjoy spending time with a fellow craftsman.
And the same for me. It was a pleasure. I'm sorry that we couldn't make the deal. And just you need to buy him a drink. So that's 4 cash. I'll just roll the d6. What is the rest doing? So Hamish bought the shotgun. Neither, I think. Can you maybe recap the stories that you sent to Mencia? I know you got the XP for the log for the Legion, didn't you? It was like something like 200 XP, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right, let me go back through notes here.
Or do we want to do that off camera, maybe afterwards?
We can sort that out after the fact, because
okay, cool.
It's looking like I'm going to have to go through and put that list together again.
Yeah, and add the cannibalistic hamsters for extra grueling story. Cool. Anything else you want to buy, or do you want to hit the road?
I want to know what kind of weapons I can get.
Have a look at the list. Just imagine that everything you buy...
Everything but porcelain pistol and the squirt gun, correct?
Yes. And Will, your shotgun will be a bone shotgun. So it's made from ivory.
Okay.
Is there anything like a repeating crossbow or
I
anything
can see
like that?
An impeding crossbow?
A repeating crossbow.
A repeating crossbow.
Like a machine gun crossbow, I suppose.
I don't see anything on the ranged weapons list. I didn't know if that was something that was available elsewhere or...
Yeah, I can have a look at because this list is what I did for the starting group. I haven't updated it. I have a look at the UVG PDF. Ranged weapons. There's a crossbow, but it's reload. There's a heavy crossbow. It has optional knockback bolts and just a higher damage.
Is there anything with the word auto in the name?
There's nothing with a word auto. There's an Ultra Blaster, but I don't think they have it. There's the Blue God Blaster and the Voice of Death. But the Black City Meta Disruptor, I don't think that any of these weapons are at the Behemoth Shell.
Fair.
What you do see is like a, what is it called? Not a top, like a, is it called a Tommy gun? It's more like a stationary thing that you have to, is it a
Gatling gun?
A Gatling gun, but that is like to mount it on a vehicle.
How many slots does that take up on the vehicle?
It is 1 slot for the thing itself because it's fucking heavy, and it's 1 for the crates of ammo.
Is Hamish? Do I see Hamish wandering around anywhere?
Yes,
I think you see Hamish looking lovingly at this machine gun. To be really honest with you. Like, I don't
know about you, Hamish, but I kind of love this thing.
I love it too. We could fit that. Could you reckon we could put it on the caravan, right? But maybe we could put it on the car. If we put it on the car, like then we have a portable machine gun, and let's see any hamster with a sickle deal with us then.
I was just thinking that if we could lure them out of the cave, we could chop them up pretty handily with this.
I was thinking more for next time. You never want to go back to. They're ready for you when you go back. You got to leave it a while. So maybe the road takes us. But next spooky cave, we just drive this straight up to the door.
Go back, we can't see what we can find out. Apoc and I still haven't seen what we can find out about those weird little rodent ferns.
Oh, okay. Weird little rodent ferns. Well, I can tell you they're weird and they're rodents and they're ferns, and none of those things are anything that really floats my boat, pal. But I mean, far be it from me. Maybe now that we've opened one, like the door, maybe they'll spread across the whole ecosystem and send this area into a famine, and we can do it on our way back, maybe. But if you want to give it a go, then far be it from me to stand in the way. There's supposed to be nicer stuff down there, and I would like to give those wipe the smile off those hamsters' faces. I'm just worried about how much time we'd lose on the road.
So, how much is this Gatling gun?
So the person selling they're like accessories to wagons, auto wagons especially, and there are actually a couple of accessories.
Mhm.
So there's the Gatling gun, and the Gatling gun does 2d12 damage, which is obviously a lot. Oops. And it costs 1,500. They also sell a flamethrower that does 3d6 fire damage, but it's that the range is closer. They have a para radio, which picks up signals from the past, like radio stations from the long ago.
Mhm.
And they have a boarding ramp, which is not what you might think it is. It is a ramp with which you can move from one vehicle to the other without any danger of jumping or anything.
Mhm.
I don't see the flamethrower. I'm curious about the power radio. I definitely want the Gatling gun. 100%. Boarding ramp, so far, generally speaking, because it's a point crawl rather than encounters on the road, it's not going to be as much use as I would leap for, like.
Yeah, I see your point. There are always at least one encounter on the road. So you
Yeah,
always go.
I'm not saying it's not like a good thing. I'm just saying that it's not like top of my radar. If it was a case of like hex crawl kind of like roll for everything you go through, I'd be like, yeah, we need to soup up this Mad Max wagon and destroy whatever comes that way. Like we're going to be full on road warrior. Gatling gun, all in favor?
2 seconds here. Checking something. Do we want to get another bone vehicle?
Shall we have a look at the vehicle pictures, and you tell me what you fancy? So it's in the Ultraviolet Grasslands Google Drive.
Vehicles, nice.
And then the first one, that would be like an actual an auto wagon with 24 sacks, and it's slow, and it's really, this is an old Soviet vehicle.
All right. I'm sorry, I missed the link. What are we looking at?
The Google Drive.
The Google Drive, and then under vehicles.
Google Drive vehicles.
How are there so many bone vehicles? Like, how is that a thing? Like one, I was like, oh, cool, and then the second one, I was like, oh my god, there's 2 of them.
Yeah, you didn't want to buy the third one that has no brake. The fourth one would also be like in with bones. Obviously, everything you see is bone flavored.
The Golem Kraftwagen.
So the first one is the actual auto wagon, the 24 slot one, correct?
Yes, correct. The second one is your Redlander.
That would be 10,000 gold coins.
For the big one, yes.
Yeah. Well, I suppose if we buy it now, it's an investment, right? And it's we would have that extra 24 cargo. Our food needs would be always filled because I kind of imagine leaving that auto wagon, unless we're on a surefire thing, probably back with the caravan as kind of like part of the caravan kind of
right.
thing. And we have our Redlander reclaimed battle wagon now with Gatling gun hopefully attached to it as our sort of scout party vehicle kind of thing.
So that means we don't need the wagon, we don't need the horses, we don't need the porcelain walker.
We can still keep those things as a part of the caravan. Like the porcelain walker, I was thinking in particular might be. Maybe we'll come to a sort of a terrain where a walker is only the appropriate thing versus a wheeled vehicle, perhaps.
Yeah, but with the walker, we've been playing it because I'm looking at this and it says the walker has 12 sacks capacity, and we've been playing it with 4 sacks capacity.
Yeah, it's again. I was thinking like a smaller version.
Okay.
Yeah, like a sports car model rather than a
exactly. Yeah, it's more like a scouting thing that also can.
If we sell the walker here,
Sorry.
do we get XP for it?
If you
stole it,
sell it.
If you sell it, no. Because it was a.
Yeah, we stole it.
Yeah, because you stole it. That's true. Yeah, you would get the XP for it. I mean, I personally love the idea that the caravan is like a living documentation of the adventures of the caravan. So getting bigger and bigger with more obscure vehicles that you pick up on the road is kind of charming for me. But I can see
why we don't want to be using a stolen vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, you outside the I mean, there's still satraps. You're not really in an area where there's like police, what's it called, porcelain princess patrols or anything. But yeah, theoretically, it could be a random encounter or something.
So
I think Hamish definitely wants to keep it as a he thinks that it's probably safe enough to keep it as a sort of like symbol of like, oh, we stuck our blow against the porcelain princess and we took their prize right out from under them. Sporty Bugatti number,
So how much would it sell for?
That's a good question.
I will admit that if you tell me that it'll boost me up a level, I'll be like, yeah, sell it instantly because I need to re-roll that health die so badly.
Let's see. So the big prismatic or porcelain walker with a 12 sacks
is 6,000.
So,
I think I might cut that by a third since it's a 4 sack capacity.
Yeah, I would say it's 2,000. Yeah.
So if we sell it for 2,000, we get 2,000 XP each, or we split 2,000 XP as the group.
I think with with monsters that you slay and with treasure, it's different from experiencing like a location. For example, for the location that you just visited for the Lurid Pines, you all get the full XP.
Sure.
But with monsters and with treasure, you divide it.
Okay. So that'd be like 650 something, 660 something per person.
Yeah, 660, let's say.
Yeah. I mean, you've made a persuasive argument, and it lets me level up. I'm assuming that we won't get 600 XP from the location, so
no.
I can get 1,400 XP, Hamish, and your next level is 2,000.
Yeah, so I definitely I think Nida persuades Hamish totally of the value in selling off the porcelain walker, even though he is keen on keeping it as well. It's definitely like oh no, you're right. We need it. We need to
you need the cash.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking if we do that, we can keep our little 12 sack capacity auto wagon, mount a Gatling gun on it, and buy ourselves a 24 sack capacity auto wagon.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. All sounds perfect to me.
Yep.
And then that's
good for me too, although I don't think APOC is present for this. But
should we also
something that
cart
I'd agree to.
Yeah, the XP would be for Nida and for Hamish, I guess, for selling the walker.
Oh, okay. Can we just split it? I mean, I'd rather be if that's okay with you. Yeah,
that's totally okay for me.
Like, yeah, I'd rather divide it by 3.
Yeah.
Sure. Thanks.
And it's kind of the way we've been doing things is just dividing it equally by whoever happens to be there when the stuff happens.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to give, I don't know, Saffron the XP.
Yeah, she's dead. So, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
And you know, the other part of it is like with the with that ridiculous roll on the Black Lotus stuff.
Mhm.
I wasn't there for the session. I didn't get the XP. But so, you know, it's like we split it just for whoever is present at the session. That seems to be the fairest way to handle it.
Yeah.
Cool. You also get, if we are at XP at the moment, why not? You get 95 XP for the Lurid Pines.
Definitely would have been enough to level up.
95.
Mhm.
And we need to scope out how much we can offload this biomancy for at some point. This kit, this stuff that we've retrieved from the crates.
Yeah, you could do, if you stay another week, you could do market research, for example, for the next destinations.
We could also go back to the Lurid Pines, take care of those things, get down to the second level, see what else is in there.
Well, you can. We'd have to lure them out, and they didn't seem to like the sunlight. Nothing down there did. And
how close can we get the? How close can we get that truck to the vault doors?
Well, maybe the walker could have done it, but not the car. I don't think.
No, you can't drive the car up the mountain.
I want to be spending more time here because I have a plan in the Behemoth shell, because I have a plan to construct, if this is a possibility, a portable biomantic research kit out of some of the equipment, so that I could actually do some useful sampling and kind of gathering of components and whatever for biomantic research.
Definitely, if you want to spend your action in the week for putting together like a biomancy kit that you can write down on your character sheet, you would have to spend one of the crates.
Yeah, I think I do this anyway without getting anyone's prior agreement for it. So
perhaps, because Nerdist clearly wants to go back, I think Hamish will argue that, sure, we'll go back, but we should lay low for a little while. We can spend a week here and let it all quieten down, and the next thing they know, we'll be back stronger than ever, kicking in their face. You know? Like, the shotgun as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Because they'll be ready for us now, but in a week's time, they'll probably have forgotten.
Is there anything like grenades or anything like that we can buy?
Let's see.
Any kind of single-use thrown weapon that does decent damage?
Probably. Let's have a look at the list. Weapons. Military melee weapons. Weird melee weapons. What about grenades? I want to rule, it's not on the list, but it makes sense that because they are bone mancers, that they have some kind of exploding caltrop bomb, which means that like you throw, it looks like a pool billiard ball, like 8 or something, and you throw it, and then it just explodes in these bone fragments in a radius around it. Let's see on Skirple's list what kind of damage that would be. I mean, I want to say I mean, why take everything is a variation of the D6. So I think a 3D6 makes sense.
And how much are these things?
An idea about prices as well. I want to say it's per grenade. It's 15 cash.
15 cash per.
Hamish buys 5.
Okay.
So we're agreed that we are buying a 24 capacity auto wagon, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Let me add that to the caravan. And we are getting rid of our coach and the ponies. Is that correct?
I think the way that we've been moving the caravan, I think it's maybe natural for the coach and the ponies to go away because they're the slowest of our vehicles at this point, you know? Like they're very slow and they're meat rather than like things. So I think I'd be okay.
I mean, things get bad, we can eat the ponies.
Another advantage, look at your lines of veils, but the other advantage of the coach is also that they are grazing. So if you run out of rations, you cannot only eat the ponies. They propel the whole thing forward anyways, even if you don't have rations. Whereas if you have an auto wagon, you have no rations, it just stops.
I say we're probably not going to get much money for the horse and wagon, right? Like it's
probably not
consequential for us at this point. So maybe while we don't have anything in it, the way that we travel is we load the horses into the auto wagon and we just tow the wagon behind it, kind of thing, like with a cable.
Not the most efficient way of traveling, but yeah, why not?
More efficient than waiting for the horse and wagon to keep up with the automated vehicle. Really.
I mean, officially, the big auto wagon, the 24/6 auto wagon, has the tag slow. So, and you do add up slow tags. So if you have 2 slow things, you have 2 tags. You tally 2 days in a week, and at some stage, if you go over the week, you have to subtract another rations for.
Yeah.
What's the hit dice for the auto wagon?
It's for the big one, for the 24 one.
Yes.
It is, I think I read somewhere. It's always in levels. So let's see. Transport. The auto wagon is 10 HD.
Okay, and then the 12 capacity auto wagon
is, I want to say 8.
Okay. And Hamish, is it overkill to put a Gatling gun on both auto wagons?
No, I think it's a brilliant idea.
Okay, so we're establishing that a Gatling gun on each auto wagon is not overkill; it is sufficient kill.
Yes, aye. There's no such thing as sufficient kill. Any kill remaining is not wasted. It's simply spent in a good cause.
Okay, so we are putting. Yes.
Epoch, you wanted to say?
I have a question about a plan is occurring to me.
Mm-hmm.
Are these Gatling guns? I know they need to be fired from a fixed position. Are they dismountable?
There are. You could buy a mount, and then it is. So at the moment, if you just buy the Gatling gun, it is pointing forward. So whenever you want to hit, you need to operate the car, the auto wagon. If you buy a mount, you just turn them 360 degrees.
How much does the mount add to the Gatling gun?
The mount is, let's see, it's called a turret. It's 500 and occupies another sec.
All right, so to have the Gatling gun with the turret on each vehicle would reduce the capacity of each vehicle by 2.
By
3
3.
is the ammo as well.
Oh, that's right, the ammo. Okay.
It's a big crate of ammo where it,
I think that's a good investment because again, we can just sell this down the road if we really need to. The space, fine, we need the space, and at the moment we'll have lots of space, anyways, even with the things.
It sounds like it's a lot more flexible in combat. Like if we're running away from something, then we could turn it around behind and so on.
All right, so 39 and
have you seen the bone tuk-tuk? If you put it's also on the vehicles list. If you put the Gatling gun on there and point it backwards, it accelerates the tuk-tuk to incredible speed.
Machine gun driven vehicles, nice.
Yes.
But, yeah.
There was a XKCD What If article about propelling vehicles with machine guns a while back.
They are really, really smart. I don't know who does these comics, but probably some kind of scientist or not. Physicist?
It was a physicist, yeah. Yeah, he's a physicist.
I had one question actually while we're just in a sort of free kind of
So,
it's about my moves from the strong that I've just never really thought about. When you first reduced to 0 HP, I receive a free attack to adjacent foe. I could probably have taken another shot, right? Like after I killed one, and then because I get a free attack on a foe after I've killed.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is for ranged weapons as well.
Okay, I mean that makes sense to me, anyways. But I've only got it from the white hack character gen because I don't actually have white hack. So
yeah.
But then the second thing is may acquire a single power from a fallen enemy.
Yes.
Is that applicable
thing.
at all at this point? Having killed the bloated corpse monster, I can't think of anything I would get from that, to be perfectly honest.
Do you want to be a bloated corpse monster?
No, I don't.
No, I mean, take one of their strengths. I mean, the only tag that the car zombie had was docile. You don't want to have that. Let me think.
Yeah, I'm happy with. I think maybe I should have thought about that more when we fought the porcelain guards because that would have been maybe a more interesting thing. But
if you want to, like, I would give you I would give you like a natural increase of 1 AC on your armor class.
Yeah.
If you take the bluish, slightly smelling skin.
No, that's a fight. That's not Hamish's style, I'm afraid. No. I'm cool with all the purchases we make. Shall we, if we make all the purchases, Puckett, I imagine you are telling all that up on the gold and things for the caravan, is that right? Or...
I just finished tallying everything for the caravan. I'm adding it to our notes now.
Perfect.
What is you were not interested in the boarding ram, but I heard the para radio. It's PARA, it's not power. Para radio.
Yeah, paranormal radio.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much is it, and what use is it?
It picks up strange radio stations from the long ago, basically, which I can see being useful and again interesting. Like
for hedge wizards. For hedge historians, I mean, it might be interesting. It's 500.
Plus, they got the best music.
They definitely. I imagine it's like the Fallout series, like 50s.
Yeah.
I don't want to set the world on fire.
Yes.
How
is that taken for plot?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. I'm not so much interested in the history myself. I just know some of it. But APOC is up for good tunes. So,
how much does that take a slot, or does it just?
No. That is just like a small thing.
Cool. I definitely think that Hamish picks it up and goes, "Oh, music!" Puts it on top of the Gatling gun and all the equipment things, and looks pleadingly at Nida, who holds the purse strings to the caravan.
If you can show me that it will be mechanically useful to us in some way, shape, or form, like
I bet
think
you
of the morale
something beyond
benefits.
flavor.
I bet you 500 gold that this will come in handy by the time we reach the Black City.
I mean, you can buy loudspeakers and attach them to the outside of the car to broadcast things. Not sure if that is useful.
That could be useful. My thinking was that it picks up old radio broadcasts and stations and things, right? So as we pass through an area from the long ago, it might have like a automated message telling us about things, or we might pick up like like kind of like, this is Ghost Dog telling everybody to stay outside because the hamster beasts are roaming, kind of thing. And it will provide us with like some possible exploitation to use, kind of thing.
Information.
Clues as to interesting locations that you're thinking of. That sort
Yeah,
of thing.
or perhaps one day when we're driving through the desert, we will get a distress signal. Like who knows what could be possible? All these possibilities that are opened up by the para radio, and also, the music, clearly.
The two of you really want this para radio, don't you?
We do, yeah. More than anything, please. It's my birthday and everything.
Hamish, you lie about so many things. The only thing I'm certain of today is not your birthday.
He looks very disappointed. Well, it's close enough.
All right, para radio.
They also have skeleton porters, but I assume that they're too slow for you.
They're like things that follow along the wag caravan, aren't they? As opposed to.
Yeah, they just walk and carry something, and the good thing is they don't eat.
We could buy a skeleton porter to take with us when we go places, and then we could have loaded them up with these crates and carried on our way, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It depends on how fully kitted out we want to be for our potential future of dungeon delving and whatever,
Are porters things that you can take with you like that or are they just caravan? Okay.
I think I need to check. Do you have to have a necromancer though? Requires necromancy. Nobody of you have necromancy.
Well, no, never mind.
No,
sorry.
Not relevant.
Okay.
So I think we kind of inquire about it and kind of like, you have a necromancer? No. Well, they're no use to you.
Cool.
Is there any other useful vehicular stuff that we can or should consider getting to throw onto these vehicles?
You did ask about the boarding ramp, didn't you?
Yeah, what's the cost of the boarding ramp?
The boarding ramp is... You could buy a sidecar for your motorcycle, Hamish. Increase your sex.
Yeah, I think I'm okay, frankly. The way that we're handling everything.
Okay, so that actually adds a different question. Makes it so with Hamish having a motorcycle and APOC having an auto trike.
Yes.
This means that we have an auto wagon, a coach, another auto wagon, a motorcycle, and an auto trike. So that's 5 vehicles by my count.
Mm-hmm.
Are we just assuming that there's somebody who is on the caravan and able to drive all of these things?
Well, there has to be somebody driving. I mean, you could theoretically put the motorcycle into one of the wagons. The same goes for the trike. But you do have to have like people actually driving the auto wagons. They don't drive.
Right.
And I would assume that if you put the motorcycle and the trike in, that takes at least a sack of capacity.
But we're pretty empty. We've got plenty of capacity right now, so kind of you can make these decisions and kind of get rid of stuff as appropriate later, I guess.
Yeah.
So I would suggest, like as a neutral referee, that traveling empty is always
A waste.
stupid. Like it's a waste. You would want to buy, like, trade stuff.
Yeah.
So there's no, in that sense, you never have too much stuff.
Why don't we keep
best charisma?
Yeah. Should we do so? Why don't we keep everything? I'm not fussed about a sidecar. I don't really see us using the boarding. We could put the boarding ramp on the auto. Would it take up a slot? I suppose.
Don't think so. No, it just hangs on the side.
Why don't we put it on our scout? We'll pimp out our reclaimed Redlanders wagon. Basically, we'll make it like our fast attack, like patrol scout car kind of thing. So if we have a random encounter where it's like a Mad Max style thing, we'll be able to just like send that out, and one of us drives it up alongside while Hamish runs over with his claymore onto the.
I have to disappoint you again. I just read that it does occupy one sack and costs 400.
I quite like having more space, I think, perhaps in the auto wagon, so that we can, because we've already sacrificed 2. If we could bring back more, that's more appealing to me.
mean, and here I was sitting here thinking that you might want the sidecar because you could probably put a turret with a Gatling gun in it.
I don't want to just put Gatling guns in everything. Everything as it is.
If Gatling guns didn't want to be put in everything, they wouldn't have been created. They wouldn't exist.
It's true. It's what God wants.